Another year and another JD Power dependability study. It's always fun to break these down. Grab your snacks and drinks and your truckload of salt, and let's get into it. Over at Automotive News, if you guys are excited to pick this apart and have some fun with it, smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe for industry auto news and car reviews. Just did a Prius showdown yesterday, and then I'll be doing some Nissan GTR stuff in the coming days as well. So stay tuned. Lots of good stuff coming from the channel in the very near future and this spring as well. All right, this is exciting. Well, in theory, if you want to believe it. Consumer Reports, I've done those coverages before. Consumer Reports is a little bit more realistic, a little bit more reliable. It's still not a there's no such thing as a perfect dependability study because every single car is going to be different, even if, let's say, they come off the assembly line. Just some cars don't have the reliability of others. For example, the Prius that I'm driving right now, brand new 2023 Limited, the heated seats, the lights come on. I don't feel any heat coming out of them, but I've spoken to other people out there, right, that have the new Prius, and they said their heated seats are super hot. I know what heated seats feel like. I get no heat from these seats regardless of what setting I put it on. So I think I may have gotten a dud, but it's not my car. It's just a press car. So, you know, maybe it's a pre-production model. I'm not 100% sure on that. But Lexus, for the second year in a row, has clutched the highest spot on JD Power. They're typically top 3. There was a long time where they were like number 1 for like 7 years a row. That's when I was selling for Lexus, and we would whip out these sheets, be like, look, Lexus is the most dependable brand out there. And it's hard to argue that they're not, but it was always like we would refer to JD Power. Right. Toyota, big surprise, ranked second. Now, they dethroned Kia. Kia held the same second spot for 3 straight years. Kind of surprising, right? Because, you know, growing up, Kia didn't have the best reliability, dependability, reputation. Now that's quickly changing, right? They're getting better, absolutely, but I wouldn't put them as high as Toyota, Lexus. Anyways, that's just my opinion, and that would change depending on what you believe as well. So this study averages the number of problems per 100 vehicles. And this average has risen now to 190 problems per 100 vehicles from the latest study, which last year was 186 problems per 100 vehicles. They say like electrified vehicles, right? The Chevy Chevy Blazer EV is on stop sale right now, right? Because it's just a problem on wheels. And then you have other models coming out nowadays that the lane departure warnings or lane centering technologies isn't working as is intended. I get it. So the more complex cars get, in theory, the more problems they have. It doesn't mean they're not reliable. It just means people might not know how to work them. And that's what this JD Power study also includes. Not knowing how to work the climate control or Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's been a big snag in the recent past. Like, that's not just the car's fault, that's also the phone's fault, right? To have those sort of connectivity issues. So anyways, the average age of a vehicle on the road is 12 years. Let me know how old your car is down below. Do you have a car that's newer than 12 years? My Prius has just hit 12 years and my van's like at 11 years, and they're both low mileage. I don't really have any desire to get rid of them anytime soon. Yeah, they're probably going to last another 10 years, I would assume, but who knows? Who knows? Also, you had this issue that was going on in 2021 and 2022 with part shortages. So there were certain vehicles that were getting deletes for certain services and functions in the car. So they were kind of half-baked or under-baked cars coming to the market, and they didn't have the right microchips in them. I know the big 3 were infamous for that sort of problem. All right, so let's get into it. JD Power dependability tracks problems per 100 vehicles over a 12-month period by owners of 3-year-old vehicles. So a 3-year-old car, they should all be reliable. They're all under warranty, right? Like I said, take this all with a truckload of salt. These are, I'd say, like I said in the past, this is not a dependability study. It's a growing pain study. I feel like it's what kind of issues are you going to have while you learn the car? And you're learning the car absolutely for the first year or 2. And so a lot of these problems pop up then. And it's not like, hey, my car stopped working. It's like, oh, my phone's not connecting, or my lane departure warning and I don't know how to work it. Like stuff like that. That's what comes into these dependability studies, and it's not a real dependability study. Again, I think it should be called growing pains study. Doesn't mean that there aren't real issues going on, but there are also tons of infotainment issues that carry the brunt of these problems per 100 vehicles. All right, Lexus and Toyota, we knew that they're at the top. Buick down below. Buick makes just a few vehicles. I think the majority of their volume is actually imported from South Korea. So that might have something to do with it, right? Chevrolet, and coming in at number 4 on the list, Mini coming in at number 5 on the list. Now, Mini also ranked really high in Consumer Reports. I think they were like number 2 or 3 or something. So maybe Mini is scaling. It's up to you to believe what you want. Many drivers don't buy Minis for their reliability. They buy them because they're arguably the cutest cars on the road, and that has a lot of pull. Design has a huge amount of pull, more than ever, I would say, on potential car buyers. So Mini doing its thing there. Porsche up there as well. Porsches, people don't drive them as much in theory compared to normal cars, especially with the slew of 718 models and 911 models. People don't typically daily driver them, but you have the Cayenne and Macan that are definitely daily drivers. Mazda near the top. There's Kia falling quite a bit, but still in the top 10. BMW in the top 10. I just drove the X1 fairly recently, and I did not like the infotainment in there. I had lots of issues with it, not necessarily from the software bugging out. It was just a terrible user experience. So yeah, BMW doing well. The BMW Z4 that I drove that had the older software was fantastic. Very simple and predictable, and that's what you want in a car. Dodge, 190 problems, and Jeep. So you're telling me Dodge, Jeep, Chevy are all like in the top 10. Again, believe what you want. Cadillac right there, then Hyundai, then Subaru, Nissan, Genesis, Ram, GMC, Honda, and Acura are pretty far down on the list. Mercedes-Benz, Infiniti, Ford, Volvo, Lincoln, Volkswagen, Land Rover, Audi, which Audi and Volkswagen, right? Sister companies. Chrysler, that's the thing. Chrysler is the worst on this list, and it is a brother sister company to Dodge, which is in the top 10. Chrysler has just a couple models, the 300 as well as the Pacifica. I think there's a lot of issues, not necessarily the 300. I think that's pretty darn reliable. It's the Pacifica. That especially the plug-in hybrid of that Pacifica. I wouldn't really be worried about the V6 models, but the Pacifica, I couldn't even get the DVD system to work reliably. That's going to cause a lot of issues. And that plug-in hybrid system just didn't feel like it should have been in a production car. It felt like a prototype. It was really jerky, on-off situation. And yeah, it just wasn't good enough. So anyways, Chrysler down at the bottom, I think largely due to their lack of variety in models. And one of their models is a dud, which is a plug-in hybrid Pacifica. But in Tesla, they don't, they're not allowed to be eligible for whatever the JD Power's criteria is, but they're pretty low on the list. Bottom 5, slotting behind Lincoln. All right. So most dependable vehicles, the 718 doesn't really surprise me. It's a small vehicle, not a lot to go wrong, I would think. Also, are people daily driving their 718s? Don't know. I honestly don't believe that they are. So less problems to go wrong if you're not driving it as often. Top 3 models per segment. So compact car, Corolla, Civic, Prius. But hold up, Honda was super low on the list, but there's just not a lot of compact cars anymore. So Prius, Civic, Corolla. Now with the Civic Hybrid coming out, you might have even less issues because it's a simpler setup compared to the CVT with the eCVT that we have here on the Civic Hybrid. Can't wait to drive the new Civic Hybrid. Compact premium car, Lexus IS. No surprise, this vehicle's as old as the earth at this point with the technology that it has. And BMW 3 and 4 Series, come on. I mean, that should be in the same category, right? It should say BMW 4/3 or 3/4, right? So that's a bit of a cheap win there. All right, mid-size car. We got this the drum roll slow scroll going on. Camry, Malibu, Sonata. No Accord in the mid-size car list? Riddle me that. The Malibu and Sonata are passing it, and also no K5 in there either. Not in the top 3 anyways. Mid-size premium car. There's just one car apparently that qualifies, and that's a Lexus ES. Apparently the rest of them are trash. ES doesn't really have any like major competitors. I mean, the Acura TLX kind of, but the TLX is definitely a smaller car and it's more performance focused. ES is a pure, smooth luxury car with pretty good materials and excellent build quality. Porsche 718 is doing double duty here. Porsche 718 is the most premium, sporty, reliable car. And the Corvette comes in behind it. Compact SUV Equinox. I don't buy this with any. I like that's the maybe the greatest salt dump right there. Chevy Equinox is the most reliable compact SUV. I can think of like 5 or 6 that I would pick just on my understanding of dependability and reliability. Okay, Buick Envision behind it, and then the RAV4, number 3 on the list of compact. How is a RAV4 a compact? It's definitely a midsize in my opinion, with how big it's gotten. But yeah, NX number 1 in the compact premium SUV. No Acura, no Infiniti on the list. You have the XT4 and the Porsche Macan. All right, large SUV. Tahoe is apparently the only one on the list to qualify. Again, a bit dubious there. Midsize SUV, 4Runner, Grand Cherokee, and Venza. Interesting. All right, midsize premium SUV, RX and GX. Small SUV, Encore CHR, which is discontinued. It doesn't matter. Encore and the Trax is the same vehicle. They should occupy the same spot. It's the same exact car. Small premium SUV X1. Like I said, just drove it. Felt awesome to drive, actually. The new redesign. Volvo XC40, I also love that car as well. But the Lexus UX, you're telling me the UX, as much as I dislike that car for being too small and just a strange package and interestingly interior and exterior design, and anyways, the UX is not a more reliable premium SUV. I'm pretty sure on Consumer Reports it was the most reliable in its segment. So again, take this with a grain of salt. Upper midsize SUV, Chevy Traverse. Don't believe that for anything. I've known people with Traverses and Equinoxes, and they've had terrible times. There are maybe a couple exceptions in there for the Equinox and the Traverse, but I've heard more problems than praises with those vehicles. Same thing with the Enclave. I've heard terrible things. My sister had one, and I think that something went catastrophically wrong. I think it was the transmission. And then the Toyota Highlander. Okay, this is definitely above these two in my opinion, but let me know down below if you disagree with that. Upper midsize premium, upper midsize, right? Upper midsize, the classifications here are just silly. Classifying vehicles nowadays is harder than ever because what used to be a compact is now a full or a mid-size, and what used to be mid-size is now it's messy. Anyways, I'm probably getting off topic. Sporty SUVs, you got a couple BMWs and a Porsche Cayenne in there. Large heavy duty pick, and that's the thing. Like, how do these qualify as upper mid-size compared to the mid-size? It's like they just created their own segment so that they could get some BMWs in there or Lexus to get their own shine. I don't know. All right, heavy-duty pickup trucks. Go ahead and take a look at that. Light-duty pickup trucks. Tundra is still the best out there, even with the new redesign, and it had a lot of stumblings out of the gate with the wastegate issues and whatnot, but it looks like the quality control is picked up quickly there, and the Tundra sits at the top in front of the big three. Interesting. All right, midsize pickup truck, Tacoma, then Colorado, then Ranger. You know, I would take a Frontier. I'd put Frontier up at number 1 or number 2. Maybe not above Tacoma. I just like how the Frontier drives way better than the old Tacoma. The new Tacoma, it's pretty hard to beat, but if you want that V6 simplicity, you have that in the Frontier, which I would take over the Ranger in the Colorado without hesitation. Minivan. Kia Sedona hasn't been on sale. So we're talking in the last 3 years, right? The Sedona hasn't been on sale for 3 years. Like, right, the Carnival's been on sale the last 3 years. And even then, would it rank ahead of the Sienna and the Odyssey? I find that hard to believe, but I would definitely take a Sedona probably over well, not a Sedona, not a Sedona. I would take the Carnival, which just got a refresh, as well as got that hybrid powertrain with around 242 horsepower and a 6-speed auto. From what I read briefly, it doesn't have the DCT, which I'm excited about. That always worries me with a lot of the Hyundai Kia hybrids. They put a 6-speed DCT, which those DCTs haven't been the most reliable in the past. So anyways, Honda Odyssey bringing up the ranks there. And of course, the Pacifica is not in here because Chrysler has, according to this study anyways, the lowest dependability rating that you can have. And to finish things up here, I mean, you guys can read this. I'm already done going through it. There's a lot of issues with phone connectivity and infotainment, all that fun stuff. But that to me doesn't have a whole lot to do with real dependability. It's more of a learning curve. So I got into there. Thank you guys for watching. I can't believe this video went on for over 15 minutes. Because it means nothing, but I hope it was at least entertaining for you guys as it was for me. I'll see you guys in next year's JD Power Dependability study. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and peace.